The one thing that I think transfers more than anything else is a work ethic.
Yeah.
If you're struggling in your current situation and you're working really, really hard and you're willing to put that in for your boss, there's something to be said about working for yourself. It's me. It's mine.
Yeah.
Like you said, some people, their goal is I want a career where I don't have to worry about what I'm going to do tomorrow or if I'm going to have that extra job, and a paycheck is a paycheck. That's great. But for those that are on the cusp, I would say go for it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Easy Way Out podcast. My name is Tony, and we are coming to you as always from the Armory in beautiful downtown Owosso, home to my company, AZ Business Solutions, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. Now, today's guest is a really great friend. I mean, we'll use that term lightly, but he's a really good friend of mine and a fellow entrepreneur here and someone that's new to the Owosso scene as a business owner. And that is the new owner of Hodge Glass, Gil Humphries. Gil, thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tony.
We're excited about having you today. Now, Gil and I actually met at church, and we have a little bit of a gap in age, but it doesn't seem like it anymore. We're now just kind of friends. But when I first came, I was a teenager, and you were kind of a guy going to the church. But we just kind of met, and Gil and I have a common kind of personality in that we like to agitate people, and we're kind of known for that. Gil more than I, actually, but we kind of are known for that. And so we usually get the brunt end of all of the comments, but we give out more than our share, so it's all right. But Gil, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and Hodge Glass and what you got going on right now?
Sure. So it's new to me. Hodge Glass has been in business for 75 years now. But I have just been the owner for the last 6 months. So we bought this 6 months ago. It was a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
And it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I've got a wife and 3 daughters.
Three daughters.
3 daughters.
That sounds terrible.
My
I have
dog
3
is-
daughters, but I also have 3 sons to balance
Yeah, there's
it
no
out.
balance. Even my dog is female. So
Yes.
I've
Isn't your
lived
dog
in-
named Kitty?
Kitty, dog named Kitty. Listen,
That's just weird.
standing on the porch in our neighborhood, yelling, "Here, kitty, kitty," seeing the dog run up, and the neighbor kids going, "Wow, that's cool," was well worth
That was worth just for that moment. That's
all
why
the
you did it.
abuse and any investment made. Yes, very good. But I've worked in the same career field for the last 35 years, ever since high school. So this was a bit of a change, but it's been good. Being an entrepreneur is interesting.
For
put
sure.
it that way. The wife's been very supportive. The family's been very supportive. The girls are kind of all on their own. I've got one in college down at Pensacola Christian College, my youngest, Kayla. I've got my middle daughter who's actually graduated. She is a teacher and Lake Mead Christian School in Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas. There are no trees in Nevada. Very strange.
Yeah. It's
My
a desert.
my oldest actually works for our church. She's been a missionary to China, underground missionary, and is dying to go back overseas. So
She is.
they've been very supportive, and now that life is kind of moving them on, it was an opportunity to do some different things. It's been interesting.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about like what kind of the process you went through. You're not a young man anymore, Gil. How old are you, if you don't mind sharing that with our
52.
audience? 52 years old, decided to make the leap into entrepreneurship, which I think is awesome and inspiring. And I think this story, to you it's just your life, but that story might be an inspiration to somebody who's maybe on the fence about doing something of their own. So we're going to dig into that here in a little bit, but I want to just, for those who aren't familiar with Hodge Glass, just tell our audience a little bit what Hodge Glass is and what kind of services you provide.
Sure. It's a mom and pop glass store. We don't do new windows. We repair old windows. So we do commercial, residential, and automotive glass. So whereas a chipped in a windshield or a broken windshield, we can fix that for you. We can do new storefronts for businesses, churches, and we go into homes where someone has a glass that's been broken, and we can replace that glass, whether it be single strength, just normal single pane glass, or what we call an insulated unit. The more expensive ones that come that would cost you thousands of dollars to replace, we can replace just the glass and save you usually 75%, somewhere in that range.
Wow, that's a great price.
It is.
Yeah, so get a hold of Hodge Glass if you have those needs. Good company. Gil's a good, honest guy for the most part. They'll take good care of you. I'm sure of that. So let's talk about how you got into this. Now you said the same career since high school, and that was.
I was in automotive, basically management. My grandfather told me that I had no skills other than getting other people to do work for me. So I
doesn't sound like the kind of grandpa that would give you a participation trophy.
No. So right out of high school, I'd worked a number of different jobs from being in high school, worked my way through 4 years of college, and during that time, I'd worked a number of different jobs, but I took a job at an automotive center working for, back in the day, Sears. For 9 years, I worked for them. They hired me because I was a big guy and could lift batteries. They sold a lot of batteries. So they hired me. I was there for 3 weeks. They promoted me into sales, and then literally within 3 months, I was the night closing manager of the auto center. They still had the store management over there, and since then, I've been in automotive management the rest of my adult life, working in dealerships, working in a number of different repair facilities, Bell Tire, Pep Boys, Sears, and in that time, we started doing glass on cars and things like that through that experience, and that kind of led me to this. But yeah, for 35 years, I was in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
So
well, since I've known you, you've been managing Bell Tires, and I know you won't brag on yourself, but you had a lot of success in the industry in that you won a lot of awards, you won free trips, bonuses, different things, and you actually became the guy that got moved around to all the struggling stores to help get them back on track, which is not always fun because you do something, you build up a good situation, and then I had a similar experience in the hotel business, and that I would always kind of take hotels that were struggling and try to revive them. And although I enjoyed the challenge of that, it is frustrating when you build something to a point where, hey, everything's running smoothly, and now I got to go where it's not running smoothly anymore.
You think you get to rest on your laurels for a little bit, and then it finds out that nope, they've got another project that they want you to fix or work on. And Bell Tire was really good to me. They helped me send a couple of kids to Christian school. They helped me send kids to college. I'd been Bell Tire for 20 years, 19 years as of the last year. So a long time. It was just time for a change, and it was a unique opportunity. Bell Tire gave me a lot of leadership training, a lot of people training.
They didn't give you any people skills yet. But
no people skills.
You're getting there.
Yes. Well, now that the people are mine, it really makes a difference.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah, you have to be a little nicer, a little less sarcastic, which is really the problem. Yeah, sarcasm gets me.
Sarcasm is like your second language.
It is.
Yeah, maybe your first language. I don't know. Yes. But, well, I'm assuming like the hotel industry, that type of industry will take as much from you as you're willing to give it. It's in a business that's open 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. It's something that will, in as much as you're willing to give your employer, they will take. And if you're like me, it's hard to tell my employer, no, I want to do a good job. I see a need. I want to fulfill that need. And so the hotel business took so much from me that I just finally got to the point. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't that the hotel business didn't pay me lots of money and that I wasn't good at it. I just got to the point where I realized I don't want to do this for the rest of my life for somebody else. There's a quote that says the definition of an entrepreneur is someone that would rather work 80 hours for themselves than work 40 hours for somebody else. And that's true. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at in this position. So I understand the experience that got you there, but what was it that ultimately drove you at 50 years old, 52 years old to say, all right, I'm going to leave this career that I'm comfortable with, that I know how to do, that I'm very successful in, and I'm going to move on to something else?
It was a number of different things. So the whole role, 10 years ago, I talked to one of the vice presidents, and I explained to him, I said, 10 years from now, I don't want to be working for Bell, probably. I said, at least not in the same role. I said, I want to be able to do more for the church. I want to be able to do in my community. I want to be able to do more in politics maybe, or the big thing was really church and family. Mm-hmm. So with that said, I told him, I said, 10 years from now, I'm looking for a different role. That was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. the reason for the timeline was that my kids would be done with, I've got a sophomore in college right now. She would be done with college in 2 more years. That would put me at 10 years and give me an opportunity to do something different. Well, then time was just going on and things were just continuing and going well. I can't say that they weren't. The business was doing well. Things were going well. I was doing well. But I just wasn't having a lot of personal gratification in just making more money.
Yeah.
The trips were nice, I have to admit.
Yeah.
And then this opportunity, a very unique opportunity came along that was really hard for me to walk away from. I told my direct report boss, the regional manager, I said, it was a God thing. I mean, I had been looking at doing something different eventually, and this door opened unexpectedly. And so much of our lives, I think we spend time worried about what if I take this next step and it doesn't work. Right. But you still make these plans and you're like, I want to do this and eventually I'm going to do something different. And then when a door opens, it almost felt like I had to walk through it.
Yeah.
It was just there. It was a unique opportunity, and so far things have gone well.
Yeah.
So I have a gentleman at church, Ed Jabs, who asks me every Sunday, so you haven't ruined the business yet? And I'm like, no, we haven't closed it down
So
yet.
encouraging.
Good guys.
But that's because you speak sarcasm, so that's how people feel.
And
like
I relate.
They
I'm
have
okay
to
with
speak
that.
to you,
Yes,
right? Exactly.
that's very good stuff.
Well, this really comes back to like the time old, debate, time versus money, right? And, I have a big canvas in my office. When you walked in, you might have saw it that says, remember why you started. And the whole reason I started my company was not to make more money, because 2020 was actually the first year that I actually paid myself almost as much as I made at my last job. For the first 5 years, I made significantly less than I made and turned down jobs making a lot more money. So I never did this to become wealthy, and it's a good thing.
Amen.
But I did it so that I would, like you, have more time to be with my family, because I missed a lot of things, more time to be involved in our church, involved in my community. And so my business, for the most part, has afforded me those things. And so in that sense, I feel like I'm wealthy. And, you're kind of raised to, get all you can all you get, and then sit on your can, right? That's just sit on it. And that's kind of the American dream. Just get the job that pays the most amount of money, work, your best years of your life away so that you can retire. And then the years where you're kind of tired, you have some money, but you didn't have money when you were young to enjoy it. And listen, that might be the dream for some folks. And I think the key is people need to be honest with themselves about what truly makes them happy, or what their life's purpose really is. And, I read a statistic that 94% of Americans hate their job. And I just determined, I'm not going to be one of those guys. Right. I'm not going to be the person that just hates what I do every day. And there are days where work is just work and it's not fun. But it's so much better when you can go in and do something that you want to do, set it aside, go home and be with your family. It's not that the work ever goes away. It's just you kind of control your time and schedule. And so that's kind of what I've enjoyed about making this journey. You said you've been doing it for 6 months. And maybe in that first 6 months, you haven't really noticed maybe more freedom in your schedule. Maybe you have, I'm not sure. I know at the beginning, there's a lot of things that have to be done. But the good thing is you're taking over a business that was kind of already established. So the key was kind of just coming in and learning how to build on it and maybe make it your own. So again, you had a job that you had a lot of success in. You were doing really well. You were making good money. You got to go on fun trips. It was comfortable. You never went to work thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Like, you knew what had to get done. You were very comfortable in it. And, so the thought process, and I think it's important that we talk about this, because there's probably several or quite a few people listening today that are going through that mindset of, I have this job that I'm really good at, or making money, but I'm not happy. Or maybe they have their $1 million idea that they want to pursue, or a business that they want to pursue, but they're worried, they're scared, they're fearful, they're afraid of the unknown, afraid to take the leap. And so what would you say to someone who's in that position, that's kind of trying to, on the fence, thinking about what they should do and what their next steps might be?
I think the one thing that I think transfers more than anything else is a work ethic.
Yeah.
If you're struggling in your current situation and you're working too hard, it's only going to get worse when you make the leap.
Right.
But on the other hand, if you're struggling in your current situation and you're working really, really hard and you're willing to put that in for your boss, there's something to be said about working for yourself. Mm-hmm. I have enjoyed thoroughly someone asked me, how is the stress load? And I said, it's so different. You can't compare the two.
Right.
Being a manager and having all the responsibilities of 40 guys and being responsible for doing audits and all the other stuff that went with the old program, the old job, and then having this, it's different. But the stress level actually dropped, even though I'm worried about, am I going to make payroll? Can I make that? Did I bid that job right?
Right.
Am I going to be able to do this? Because it's something that it's me, it's mine.
Yeah.
I just think if you are willing to work as hard for your boss or harder, you ought to be working for yourself if you can.
Yeah.
Now, not everybody can. Like you said, some people, their goal is I want a career where I don't have to worry about what I'm going to do tomorrow or if I'm going to have that extra job, and a paycheck is a paycheck. That's great. But for those that are on the cusp, I would say go for it. Now, and the other beauty of it is if you were that employee who was doing a really good job, I'm confident that I could call up Bell Tire tomorrow and go. The problem is, some of me thinks I wish I'd have just burnt the ship. About 4 weeks ago, I'm thinking, man, is this really cut out for me? And you just kind of got to get through those things. So those days come, but there's it definitely, a hard work ethic transfers.
Yeah.
And I think if you have that, the opportunity in our community here in Owosso, but in the United States of America, has always been, if you're willing to work hard, there are people who are willing to pay you.
Yeah.
And I would much rather have something that I can stick my feather in and say, this is my job, this is my career, this is my business, this is my baby. Mm-hmm. I think that goes a long way towards getting you through any dark days that there might be.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, that was one of the things that made me ultimately take the leap too, was that very thought of, if this doesn't work out, I can get a job at any hotel. I was confident in that. And I think what you said is, what I really liked is the work ethic transfers. If you're working really hard and you're putting in the hours and you're doing so much for somebody else, think about what you could and would do for yourself, and it will translate. Now, there are going to be those days and weeks and months that you're like, I don't know. I mean, I have contemplated going back to the hotel business many times, or doing something else, or getting a second job, because there are times when it is a struggle financially, but you just kind of push through it. And you try to, this again goes back to this big canvas. Remember why you started. Remember why you're doing this. It was never to accumulate all this wealth. And again, I'm not diminishing. If that's your goal, if your goal is to get a bunch of money and you think that's what makes you happy, you can pursue that. I would say, I don't know anyone that's pinned their happiness on money and then got it and felt that it was worth all the effort to get them. The money wasn't ultimately what made people happy, but you have to just be honest with yourself.
Right.
What do you want out of life? What do you want out of your career? Finding your life's purpose, of course, you and I would agree that is found in a purpose from God. So if you're a Christian, finding what God's purpose for your life is, and then there's great fulfillment in all of that. So in this move, or in your life, what do you hope to accomplish both personally and professionally? So personally, I wanted more time. So I was driving, the nearest store was a minimum of 45 minutes away. And having moved for a number of different ones, they were all going to be. So I've cut down my day. I work just as many hours, but I'm still saving myself 2 hours a day, almost, hour and a half a day. I wanted more time to be able to spend with the wife, spend with the family, be able to do things. Like you said, we'd won some trips and stuff, and that was great. Mm-hmm. But a week of time away doesn't make up for a year of 70-hour gone from home. Right.
And the kids are getting old enough now that I want to be able to, if I want to go to Nevada and see the kid, I want to be able to go to Nevada and see the kid. If I want to be able to, when Kayla comes home from college, I want to be able to have a place for her.
Yeah.
So it was a number of things I wanted. I really, it was about time. And I know that seems odd, because taking the leap from a 40 or 50 hour work week into owning your own business, people will tell you, and I will too, don't expect to work a 40-hour week. It does. Right. Don't expect to go home and it be over. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
But it's different because it's your time.
Exactly.
And it's your time, and you can spend it as wisely or as foolishly as you want.
Right.
And there's something about the value of that I think, until you've made the leap into entrepreneurship or into owning a business, you really don't quite understand. It smacks you pretty hard sometimes. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, there are times where you go, yeah, this is my time,
Right.
my business. I can apply it the way I want.
Right.
So, being able to spend more time, people laugh, but I'm 3 minutes from the church. I'm 5 minutes from my home.
Yeah. You're used to driving 45 minutes to work every day
Yeah.
or more.
So you get up in the morning. There's something, and this had never been something I've done on a regular basis, to get up and go to work and not come, and it's dark, and not come home when it's dark.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was all this daylight in between.
Yeah.
Even getting out at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, or even and getting home and there still be sunlight in the daytime.
Yeah.
To go outside and enjoy the day. My daughter was home from college for just a brief moment when she was off, and it was interesting because she's like, "Dad, you're home." I'm
Right,
like,
right.
"Yeah, it's wonderful."
Yeah.
Now, while I was home, I was still crunching numbers and still planning the day and doing
Oh, yeah.
things, but there was my time. So that's personally. Professionally, Hodge Glass has been in business for 75 years. They've done well. The previous owner, Kelly and his wife, have taken care of me and done an amazing job of helping out. Kelly still has the locksmith business, and he still helps me. His brother Leon was the manager there for 15 years. Mary was the office manager. They have been incredible in training me and showing me the business and in giving me the insight and help to go forward. I guess if I was going to say what I'm looking for the business is, I'd like to make sure that the next generation, that this business can continue for another 75 years.
Yeah.
They've done well. We've done well. I think there's a huge opportunity for the business to grow and to expand, and to be able to do more, but to be able to do it in the right way.
Right.
To have the utmost. I want to be able to have my sarcasm and integrity too. How's that?
There you go.
I think the
Self-aware.
ability to enjoy the business and be an asset to the community, but yet also to earn an income and then have something to pass down to the next generation. I don't know that my kids want it. I got a guy working for me now that may want it. And they're just opportunities, I think, because like you said, I'm 52.
Yeah.
So my plan is I've got 13 years to do something with this, and hopefully within that time frame have somebody else ready to step in and continue that process. Mm-hmm. So it's exciting. It's an opportunity to build something, but yet to be a part of something that's been around for a long time.
Right. And I like how you describe the time aspect. I mean, it's certainly not that you work less hours, not by any scope of the imagination, but you can do it when you want, when you need. I had a similar thing happen where I think it was last Tuesday. I just decided, you know what, my kids are all gone, my wife's gone, I'm going to work from home today. And I was able to do that. And my kids got home at 2:30 and they walked in and they saw me there and they're like, what's going on? Like, it's weird to see you here at 2:30 in the afternoon. And then I was able to put my stuff down and spend a little time with them. And, but I also know when I do that I may have more the next day, or I may have to stay up late to do what I took the time off. But that's all right. It's my time. I can do it when I want and how I want. And like you said, you can be as responsible with it or as not responsible with it. And it works out nicely that way.
It's interesting too, because I seem to find that before hours and after hours, I get so much more done. Mm-hmm. I don't know how. So in my business, I really can't work from home, but I'll work at the shop when we're closed, going on Saturdays, stay after, that kind of thing. And it's amazing how much more I can accomplish in those off hours. Mm-hmm. I just feel like I'm accomplishing so much more and getting so much more. It's so much more productive.
Yeah.
So those kind of odd hours really help with getting the job load taken care of.
Yeah, 100%. And so I think every business is different, but I think one thing that is similar with most business owners is that control of your time that you have. Although, again, it's not like you're going to work less hours, not for a long time at least, but that you can control when you do it and how you do it, and you can take the time that you need to enjoy the things that you like. So now that you have, some extra time, maybe not extra time, but what does Gil Humphries like to do in his off time or when he gets home and there's still sunlight?
I'll admit, again, I take a little bit of grief for this. I love to read.
Yeah.
I read a lot. I enjoy spending time with the family. Me and the wife are learning each other's names now that I have a little more extra time. We're becoming, and I didn't want that to be the case either. I didn't want our lives have been children and family, and we're getting older. I see so many people that they don't really spend time. I wanted me and my spouse to be a team.
Yeah.
She's been very supportive of this move, very helpful. She is the polar opposite to me in most ways,
Yes.
which is good
She
because
is.
two sarcastic idiots would not be a good thing in the same home.
A good match.
Exactly. So it's been well, and I enjoy. It's funny because we'll actually sit down and have just quality time, the two of us. The home is pretty well empty now. My oldest still lives there while she's in the United States and not overseas. But she's gone most of the time. So we have quality time, sit on the porch and read together.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We've been married long enough that we don't have to always be talking.
Yeah.
But sitting there reading together,
Just being around each other.
enjoying each other's time together, that's a good thing. We enjoy that. I enjoy being outside. I love to hunt. I love to shoot, those kind of things. So she is now becoming more of a shooter. She likes to shoot. I haven't got her out in the woods yet hunting, but the fall's coming.
That's gonna be a hard ask.
I can't imagine the two of us sitting in a blind together, although about the same size as the couch, is going to go over really well in freezing temperatures. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like Carrie's
At all.
cup of tea, but
No.
we'll see what happens. All right. Well, listen, we now have this segment that we have on the show every week called "Explain That Post." Okay. And I just sent you a text message. We did a deep dive on your social media. There was a lot of good content. It was really narrowing it down on what to really show today. And I sent 2 pictures. One is, have you received those yet?
No. Oh, there they are right
You
there.
must have Sprint. All right. The first one is, it says, "Happy birthday, Brother Tony." And it's got my, it'll just tell everyone what this is all about.
So Tony had Tony, our podcast host here, had the most manly car you could buy,
A smart car.
a smart car. So what you see here, this is in our church. Someone, I don't know who would think of doing something like this, opened the, all right, I did. So we opened the doors, we backed your car into the hallway.
Church hallway.
And
it
then
fit.
One of the pastor's wives decorated it with the help of the children. I don't know if we filled it with balloons. We had thought about that. We did.
It was my
yes.
birthday, and I had to, clean it all off and drive
it
it
was
outside out of the church so delicately.
Yeah. And we just wanted to show our love and appreciation in the most natural way possible.
That was very good, very good. And it was amazing the smart car actually fit in there just
Yes.
perfectly. I mean, it was a tight fit on those 2 doors. I was a little stressed trying to get it out, but he did it. All right, the second one, you said you like to shoot. This is Gil Humphries in Revolutionary War garb, pointing a gun at the camera. I believe I'm behind the camera there.
Yes.
Tell us about this shot.
So our church, Emmanuel Baptist, does 1776 Sunday every year.
Right around the 4th of July.
Where we dress up in local garb of that time. We have the good guys, which is my side, and then we have the bad guys, which is the British.
The red coats.
But on the bright side, just not to give anything away, but the Americans always win.
Yes.
And I was dressed up in my garb there, and someone took a picture, and it's very representative of some of the fun that we have at church. So
Yeah.
I'm glad. I thought you were going to really pick something that I was going to be.
I had some really good ones.
I
It was
can
hard to-
imagine.
I sent them to Zach when we were in place. I said, "Hey, which one of these should we go with?" So he thought the one with the car was a good one because we have a little common thing there. But I'll have to get you back on that one. So I haven't really paid
No
you
problem.
back on that. So, well, let's kind of close our show out here. We talk a little bit about 2020 as business owners. That was a challenging time. You were a manager of Bell Tire in the middle of that, but you really made the leap to entrepreneurship in the middle of a pandemic. And so not only is it tough to do that when you've been comfortable with something for 30 plus years, when you're reaching an age where you want to kind of start settling down and not ramping things up always, and then also you add a situation in life where businesses are being closed and capacity limits and mask mandates and all of these things. So I'm not necessarily concerned with the effect it had on Bell Tire, but What kind of effect have you seen it have on the business you're in now? Because we're still going through this here in the state of Michigan. I mean, they're even talking about more lockdowns right now. So what kind of an effect have you seen this have on your business, your employees, your family, these types of things?
It's a very scary time. I'm not one who's scared of COVID. I've had it. I was one of the lucky ones that it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Having two daughters who've been to China and back, my middle daughter actually got stuck at the middle. She was coming back in January, right when the whole COVID thing happened. She got stuck in Japan on a plane. They wouldn't let them off. So all those things right in the midst of me deciding. Yeah. So we got her back. And then with the business opportunity, COVID was a little bit of a blessing because part of the reason that the opportunity to open the business came in, or for me to buy the business, was because of the effect COVID had. With some of the policies that certain folks in government had with paying extra, a lot of the employees that were working there could actually make more money being unemployed than they could employed. So it was very hard for the old owners to keep the employees there. They were running a much larger crew, and it just wasn't feasible without the employees. Right. So they had lost some employees due to COVID and unemployment. So couldn't get them back. So it just kind of opened the door for me to have this. One of the things that I've noticed is, with it being scary, is when Bell Tire, and I know you said you weren't all that, but with Bell Tire, they could absorb, as a large business, they could absorb not having all of the clientele, all the people, even closing the business for a time. Mm-hmm. As a business owner of a small business, that doesn't work.
No. So I guess the last question I would have for you before we get into our Say It in 60 is, I always like to hear from our guests is, what is a good piece of knowledge, advice, wisdom that you would give to business owners trying to navigate these kind of, I even hate to say uncertain times because you hear that all the time, but what would be some, and I know you're new to this, but you worked as a manager, which is essentially almost like an ownership role in a lot of places. But what would be something you'd tell people to other business owners to maybe focus on doing during this time?
I have to say, just stick with it. Quitting is not an option. It just can't be. Mm-hmm. So give unto Caesar that which is Caesar, and unto God that which is God's. Mm-hmm. I'm going to follow every rule possible up to the point that I can't. Right. And when it comes to obeying the government or taking care of my family, it's a tough line, but at some point, I think we just have to take care of our family. Mm-hmm. I would encourage folks that are business owners or they're contemplating that. There are a number of different groups out there. Stand Up America, Stand Up Michigan, some of the other groups that are out there, business, join those, be involved, stand up.
They can help you through that.
They can.
Time, so you're not by yourself.
Exactly. I would say that, your local church is a good place to make a commitment and take a stand. Mm-hmm. And then I say vote. Vote with your feet, vote with your pocketbook. So if there's somebody that's open and doing what they can, support the local business. Mm-hmm. There are major companies that do what we do, but support the local business. You can go to McDonald's, but you can go to BJ's, or you can go to some of the local food places.
Help them, yeah.
There are multi-million-dollar companies that do what AZ does, mm-hmm. but you can choose to do local and to support the local businesses.
Support so I think a multi-$100 company.
Multi-hundreds, yes, that's good. I'm hoping to get to the multi-50s. That would be great.
That would be great.
But I think that standing together, working together, and don't quit. I mean, you can't quit. If you're in it, stick with it.
Stick with it. It's good advice. Good advice. All right. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Hopefully, if you're listening out there, you're, kind of heard this and you think, I could do that. If Gil can do it,
if I can do it, anybody can
Tony, if we can listen, we're a couple of idiots, honestly.
That's right.
Like, you should see us like on a men's trip. We're just the biggest idiots. But if we can do it, you can do it. Take the leap. Know what you want to do. Be committed to it. You can't expect to go work less than you're working now. You got to work harder. but carry that work ethic over, and it will translate. So we always close out our show with my favorite segment, where we get to tap into the wisdom of our guest, and we give them 60 seconds to answer 10 rapid-fire questions. And if you do, you can go home if you answer them all. And there's no right or wrong answer, because these are your answers. But if you get them right, well, I guess if you just answer them, just make something up. If you answer them all in 60 seconds, you go home with a fabulous prize. So we're going to have you push that button, and you're going to know Jordan's going to hand you the phone there. Push that little middle button to see what you're playing for there.
Fabulous prizes.
Little spinning wheel. And that is?
Johnny V's.
Ooh.
Yes. Barbecue.
Johnny V's Real Michigan Barbecue, one of our clients. They're a fantastic barbecue place here right in mid-Michigan. And they are open for dine-in and takeout, and they have awesome, awesome food. So hopefully you win this one.
Burnt ends.
Yes, their burnt ends are amazing. Their ribs, actually, I really like their spicy shrimp tacos. They're really, really good too. So you have to try them. All right. Are we ready with the timer, Jordan?
Not good under pressure.
So 60 seconds. I'm just going to read them off, answer the questions, and we'll be good to go. Ready? The time starts now. What is a must-read book?
Extreme Ownership.
What is a daily habit that everyone should do?
Read your Bible.
What is your favorite podcast?
Hardcore History. Sorry.
That's all right. What is a must-binge TV series?
We're doing Blue Bloods.
What's your why?
Family, faith, freedom.
All right, 3 F's. What is your best piece of advice?
Things that come out of the oven are hot.
What is your favorite quote?
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service.
All right, Romans 12:1.
Romans 12:1.
All right, who do you look up to?
My grandfather.
How much time we got? What does success look like to you?
10.
What is success
Time.
to you? Time. That's it. We did it with how much time to spare?
8 seconds.
8 seconds to spare. You did it.
All right.
Congratulations. You're going to go home.
Johnny V's.
Johnny V's gift card.
Awesome.
And enjoy that. Take your wife on some of that spare time and enjoy some barbecue there. So before we go, I'm going to let you have an opportunity to look into this camera here. Tell our audience how they can reach out to Gil Humphries or Hodge Glass if they want to have a conversation, or if they want some work done. How can they get a hold of you?
So we're on Facebook, Hodge Glass. We're also online, hodgeglass.com. We are actually located right here in Owosso, across from Walmart, next door to Aldi's. You can't miss us. Or you can contact me, 989-723-2111, or gil@hodgeglass.com.
All right. Again, thanks, Gil, for being on the show today. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you being here, taking the time out of your day, spending your time wisely.
This is the nicest you've ever been to me.
Yeah, that's what Pastor Jason said when he was. This is the time where I have to be nice. As soon as the cameras are off, we're gonna go back to normal,
Right.
because this is kind of awkward, right?
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed this. I was surprised.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad. All right. Well, listen, if you're out there today and you're contemplating making the leap, you're contemplating making a change in your life, it's never too late. You have a lot of time left, so do what you got to do. Commit to it. Talk to some wise people around you. Listen to a great podcast or two. Come up with some ideas. Come up with a plan, and just go for it. I think you can do it. So thank you for joining us today. As my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.